The war in Syria continues to spill across the country's borders, and in some cases, you might be surprised how far the trouble has spread. Barnaby Lo reports from the Philippines.
Janet Arzadon had barely slept for 2 days, but this was one meal she knew she would have to prepare. This was the first time in 3 years that she was having a meal with her family. She'd been working as a domestic helper in Aleppo, one of the most dangerous battlegrounds in the war in Syria.
I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be with my family again.
Together with dozens of other Filipinos, Janet arrived in Manila last weekend. But there was a time she feared she would never be able to see her children again.
There were explosions day and night. Most of them came from planes. There were soldiers everywhere. Even my employer's house wasn't spared. It was hit 3 times in one day. We were so afraid. We couldn't stop shaking and crying.
Her employers left the country immediately after the incident, leaving behind their 92-year-old mother and Janet.
How can I leave? The doors were locked from the outside. It was only when I told them that I would commit suicide that they finally let me go.
Janet says she was promised a job in Brunei. She didn't even know that she would end up in Syria. And she's not the only one. Most Filipinos who've come home from Syria were undocumented. And that, according to the Philippine government, is what's making repatriation efforts difficult.
We don't know where they are or who they are. It's very difficult to find people who left the country going to another country on a tourist visa.
Despite this, the Philippine government says it's exhausting all means to bring everyone safely back home. So far, close to 3,000 have been able to return to the Philippines. But at least 2,500 more Filipinos remain in Syria. A small minority, but with the violence in Syria showing no signs of abating, their lives could be in just as much danger as millions of Syrians caught in the middle of a civil war, still with no end in sight. Barnaby Lo, CCTV, in Pangasinan, the Philippines.